All righty, we are about to start results on a rampage. Here we go. We are live. I got to get my lower third back up. There it is. Perfect. Results on a rampage. Tuesday. Tonight, we're going to talk about excellence and why it is so critical for business these days and how come it is the ante. Ante, you know, like when you play poker, it is the ante. Excellence is the ante now. And what I mean by that is exactly what it says. An ante in a poker game, as all of you know, is what you have to lay down to start. If you don't put the ante up, you're not in. Excellence is the ante now. It used to be, quite frankly, that you could get away with less than superior performance. And those that gave superior performance got kudos, got recognition, and got, a better reputation and so forth. Well, the same thing is true, but what's happening now, instead of low performers kind of limping along and having some level of success, quite honestly, what's happening now is that low performers simply disappear. There's nothing left for them to service because consumer expectations are going up and going up. Several things have brought about this change. One of them is the internet, obviously. Many, not all, but many products and services you can buy, not just across town, but across the country and even across the world. Digital products and services, information, help, advice, coaching, even instructions, specific hand-holding can all be delivered via the internet. Hangouts like this, Skype, other means, video conferencing that used to be the realm of the, only expensive and, people that had a lot of large budgets are now free. And so all of those things can be delivered seamlessly around the world. On top of that, shipping is becoming cheaper and faster. It is not unusual for me. I've ordered things from India and from China and gotten them in days, literally 2 or 3, not 20 or 30. Now, I've had other experiences where I've ordered stuff from overseas and it's taken a long time. So that used to be the expectation, and we knew it was going to take 100 million years to get here from far away. I ordered several things from India, photography, a thing on my sleeve, a piece of gear to hold the camera steady, and I got it in 3 days. And I know that it didn't come from India in 3 days, or at least I don't think so, but it was labeled express shipping. So I guess it's possible. But even if it isn't, that means they have distribution outlets set up in the country, and they do it that way. My point is this: excellence is the ante. It is simply the ante for doing business in the 21st century, and it's going to get more and more demanding. Customers, me, you, we demand more and more service. We demand instantaneous refunds. We demand immediate attention of the manager if we don't have a resolution to our liking, whether it's hotel service or whether it's in the grocery store or our favorite retailer or online. I remember not very long ago that it was very sketchy buying stuff online. eBay was a crapshoot, and if eBay would then got to be at least okay, and anybody else besides eBay, you were taking your life in your hands. And Amazon came along, and A to Z guarantees and everything else, and now online is everybody does it in their sleep. Just a few years ago, not very many people bought stuff online. You could go into a large audience and say, "Do you buy stuff online?" and a few hands would go up. Now only a few hands don't go up. So you see that change. And in that context, excellence, the expectation of good service, good quality, fast delivery, and prompt attention has simply gone through the roof. And it's going to get more than that. So if you aren't providing excellence in your product or service, you're going to suffer and ultimately go out of business. So there were 3 things I thought we'd talk about tonight. One is, why is the bar going up? We've covered that a little bit, but I've got a little bit more to say. And the other one is, learn how to make your bar go up, or how to make the bar. And the third one is to learn how to stay motivated. And that's really important. So the 3 things we'll talk about is, how come the bar is going up, and what does that actually mean in the context of commerce around the world? And then we'll do that in both the macro and the micro sense, because there are some large-scale economic trends, which you've probably seen, which are affected by that as well. So that's number one. Number 2 is, how do you, in your business, make that bar? And number three is how to stay motivated, because often the work that it takes to make changes is difficult, sometimes discouraging, and sometimes, you fail and you have to then keep trying until you succeed. So that's what we're going to talk about tonight. Hopefully this is helpful in your business and in your life. And I'm going to relate it in the results in a Rampage context to life skills as well. So let's talk about why the bar is going up. I gave a bunch of reasons in business why the bar is going up. Let's just talk about retail for a minute. If you get any kind of a defect or flaw in any retail item, you expect an immediate, prompt, and courteous refund. You expect it either to be replaced or your money refunded. You expect it to be done promptly and without argument. Some stores even go so far as to take things that have been worn or even damaged back in the interest of customer service. There's some that are legendary, Nordstrom's, and some have some of those reputations of taking things back. Discount Tire had that commercial where grandma threw the tire through the front window and somebody said thank you. But all of those are simply metaphors for the idea that the customer satisfaction actually, rules the day and is the final word. And that simply is a fact. There's a couple of ways that we can respond to that. We can get angry and say that stupid customer has no right to do that, or we can simply go with the flow and make it happen. So let's explore the outcomes of those two things. One of the funny things is that my wife had an experience, excuse me, a while ago selling something on eBay. And she sent accidentally, as this happens when she's packing a whole bunch of things, or when I'm helping her, I often help packing, we mix something up and we'll send the wrong item to the wrong customer. Now, immediately, of course, the customer lodges a complaint and says, I didn't get my stuff. And, he or she doesn't know how many things a day we ship, or that, someone else got their package and they got someone else's, or nothing. All they think about is they're ripping me off. I didn't get what I ordered. That's all. And so the immediate response is to lodge a complaint, call you names, and just go on full-scale assault. Now, emotionally, what does that do? What would it do for you? You get mad. It's like, or you could, okay, this person has no idea how many things a day I pack, and they have no idea how easy it is to get something mixed up when I've got 30 labels laying in front of me. You can have that kind of reaction, right? So this happened, and, Joy and I talked about it, and our approach has been to do everything we can to create satisfaction. And the reason is twofold. One reason, I'm sorry, I got a message and I was thinking it was someone in that was leaving a question. One reason is because that's just how we do business, because we actually subscribe to the idea here that I'm saying, which is excellence is the bar. Excellence is the threshold. It is the ante. It is the expectation. The other reason is quite practical, and that's simply this. If you don't do something to make the customer happy, they give you a 0. They go on a rampage. They write awful feedback. And whether you were right or wrong, excuse me, had a cold the last couple of days. Whether you were right or wrong, that rotten feedback stays there unless you go to great lengths to get it removed. So in order to mitigate the situation, just from a practical point of view, you have to do an enormous amount of investment of time and effort to get something changed or removed. So several years ago, we had the same problem, and we didn't take such a gracious approach to it. The customer made some very false accusations and things that weren't true, and we reacted that they weren't true. So the customer responded with a typical response, called us names and vilified the store and said all kinds of things. And it was extremely difficult because it was a new store. This wasn't on eBay. It was on another platform to get that rectified. And it was a difficult thing to go forward. And ultimately, we had to move the store and do something different. This time, several years later, a completely different approach, both from a principle and a practical point of view. The principle point of view, I said, and the practical point of view is It just takes too long to fix it later if you cause a problem. So we sent the right things. We told them to keep what they had already and not even to worry about it and hope that that was okay. And it turned a complaint into a raving 5-star fan. So the practical implications of going out of our way a bit and taking a bit of a loss on the sale was that we turned an angry customer into a raving 5-star fan. And it was at the cost of a very small, bit of money. We lost a bit of money on the transaction, but it would have cost a lot more time and a lot more effort and heartburn to have to go through, the platform, Amazon or eBay, I think it was eBay, and get some negative feedback removed that was unjustified and get the, vilification taken off and so forth. So those are simply the facts. From a principal point of view, you know how you like to be treated as a customer. So do I. I want an instant and courteous refund. I want somebody else to take the problem. I want the store to eat the loss of the open package. I just want that. And when you're a small solopreneur, that can be it can be a struggle. It can be a bit of a loss. It can be a problem. But here's the truth of the situation. The truth of the situation is online is competing with retail. Amazon competes squarely with, Walmart and Sam's and Target and whoever else, Best Buy and everything else, right? And so the customer doesn't really care about any of the heartache of the solopreneur. If you're online competing with Amazon, if you're online competing with other specialty retailers that are not Amazon but sell specialty items, you simply have to measure up to that standard because that's where the expectation has gone. So the rise of worldwide commerce, the rise of customer expectations in general, the competition between online and in-person retail those factors have all driven our expectations higher. The last element that's driven our expectations higher is simply the pace of life. Things happen fast. We want stuff fixed now. We want our problem solved instantaneously. And we want to be able to take care of things in a way that just minimizes the involvement of our time. And we can argue with those facts or we can simply live with them. And that's how business is these days. So that's the first thing. We have to live with that because that is the nature of the beast. All right. Number 2, learn how to raise your bar. So let's just think about that for a minute. We talked a minute ago about the possibility of having 2 reactions. We can argue with the customer. We could argue with the guy that, and in case of sending the wrong thing, there's no argument. They got the wrong thing. But if someone complains about an item, as has happened, there's a flaw in it, or it's not quite right, or it's not the right size, and we know that it was, and what they do is sometimes customers make up reasons because they just want to return it. They just basically changed their mind. And, it used to be that refunds were more difficult than they are now. So customers have been conditioned that they have to have a reason. Excuse me. They have to have a reason for a refund. You know what? The bar is too high. They actually don't need a reason for a refund. I don't want it anymore is the reason. I don't like it. I thought it was cool on the page, and when I got it in my hand, blah. That's the reason. That's it. End of story. Now, we can either react to that and say, oh, I've got to take it back, and I've got to sell it again, and it's going to be a loss, and who pays for both shipping, and you know what? We can't worry about those things anymore. We'll go out of business if we do. You will go out of business if you do. You just can't. You have to take care of your customer. Customers talk. They have more ability to communicate now than they ever have. The might and power of the customer online is increasing. It's great now, and it's increasing even more. So taking the point of view to make the customer right is simply the smart thing to do from a practical point of view. And when you think about how you want to be treated, it's also the ethical thing to do. I know what I want when I go to a store, and so how could I treat my customers any less if I expect to be treated that way by the retailers? So how you raise your own bar is first, make a conscious decision. One of the things that I've seen people do is they take a case-by-case basis. Well, this guy has a legitimate reason, so I'm going to go out, I'm going to take care of them. This guy's just a whiner, so I'm not going to do that. I'm going to fight with them. You know what? What we have discovered is if we simply take the policy that, we're going to do whatever it takes to make it right. Here's the things that it does for us. The benefits we get. The benefit the customer gets is they don't have to worry. They get the kind of service that they expect. And if I'm on the other end, I get what I'm expecting, but the customer gets what they expect. We get some actual benefits out of that too. And you know what it is? I don't have to go through a decision process about judging whether or not there's a valid complaint. I don't have to decide whether or not I like this guy or this gal or their reasons for returning or complaining. I've already made that decision. I'm just going to fix it. Now, I suppose that there are going to be some extreme circumstances. Someone could easily tell me where we would all gasp in horror and say, oh, obviously you wouldn't fix that. Okay, let's set those outliers aside and give you the right to make your mind up. We found that it unloads our processing, unloads our thinking process, streamlines our operation to just take care of it. Forget about it, fix it, move on, and operate that way. It makes decision-making easier. It makes processing fast. We know exactly what we're going to do when we get a refund or a return request. We're just going to handle it and move on. And so that's the benefits that we actually get out of it. So that's the first thing, is decide where your threshold is. Just make a conscious decision. We've put ours pretty high, and there's refunds for any reason. We'll just take care of it and move on. I'm not saying that's where yours has to be, but that certainly has reduced our worry factor and our struggle about how to handle those things. The second thing, after you decide that you're going to, you pick a solution, is think about how you want to be treated. I mean, actually talk about it in your business. So my wife and I are business partners, and we've talked about that. When I go into a store with a problem, what do I want? Who do I want to talk to? How do I want to be talked to? How do I want to be treated? How long do I want to wait? What is my threshold for getting irritated? What am I going to do about, I want to see the manager, you know, those kinds of discussions. What is my threshold? How do I actually want to be treated? And then try to translate that into our own business. So the first thing is make a decision. 2 is to actually go through the mechanics of figuring out how I want to be treated if I were on the other end of that transaction. When I do that, it reduces the stress. My stress goes down, my worry goes down, and I actually feel fair. I feel fair both ways. I feel good about how I'm treating my customers, and then I also feel good about going into an establishment and demanding, within reason, that same level of service, right? So for me, it simplified my life enormously in terms of handling, you know, customer complaints, issues, and problems. The third area that is involved here in raising the bar is customer service. So if I get extra questions about how to use something or how to do something, I apply the same rules, because again, I think about the frustration I've had with some do-it-yourself projects. I hate instructions that are not clear. I know how frustrated I get personally, feeling like I can't understand how to use something, and the owner's manual isn't clear, and I've got to go to some online forums, and I can't find what I want. I know how that feels, right? And so with my coaching clients, speed to profit marketing, and other kinds of clients, I've just made a choice. I'm going to give the extra time and make sure they have a good experience using the product. So that's 3 things. 1, make a decision ahead of time so you don't have to redecide every time. 2, put yourself in the customer's shoes, either one. And that's for returns and that sort of thing. And the third thing is make a decision about service. And again, we've chosen to put the bar pretty high, both for the reasons of ethics and the reasons that it's a practical matter. It's faster to solve it that way than to argue. So that's about how to raise your own bar. And again, it's just a choice. It's a choice you need to consciously make. And again, I would argue, for the purposes of creating your own results on a Rampage, that is a necessary adjustment if your service level isn't already at that level. The other thing to think about is if you begrudge, if you're angry about that kind of service, and if you're angry about that kind of time commitment, you have to draw boundaries. I'm not saying there's no boundary, but the attitude is really clear. So if I begrudgingly, well, I'm looking at the clock, I'm trying to help them. Yeah, you know, I got another minute. I just got 1 more minute to help you use this. That changes the whole flavor of the interaction. On the other hand, if I spend an extra 5 minutes I explain something again for the fourth time to a client about how to use something, how to do it, how to make it work for them, and they go away happy, it changes the whole flavor of the relationship for the cost of a few minutes. So my experience over my long career, and particularly these last few years as the bar seems to just be going up exponentially with customer expectations, mine included, I found it to be profitable and very results oriented and consistent with results on a Rampage to save my emotional energy for the things that I can leverage to greater results. Winning 10 customer disputes will not add very much to the bottom line. All of the emotional energy and struggle around those disputes devoted instead to getting more clients, increasing my product value, and raising my service level contribute a lot more to my bottom line than winning a few customer disputes. All right, let's move to the third one. Now the last one. This is a fun one. Excuse me. This is how to stay motivated. One of the things that I personally experience is as the business world changes as fast as it does, marketing techniques change, models change, particularly in things like electronics, and techniques change, tastes change, style changes, all of that stuff changes so fast. Sometimes it's a struggle staying motivated. It takes so much work to stay up to speed with the latest marketing techniques, or to stay abreast with customer demands, or to stay, tuned up with customer changes or style changes or model changes or whatever your business, deals in. The trick that I use to stay motivated is to remember why I'm in business in the first place. If I'm in business just to make money, then every time I have to spend time continuing or doing work to keep the money constant. Let's say I want to earn $10 or $1,000 in some period of time. If I have to spend more work making that $1,000, once a month, I've got to tune up my offerings or something so I can keep that $1,000 constant. If I'm only in the business of making money, then that feels like a burden. I've got to spend this extra time kind of feeling. On the other hand, if I'm in business because I like making happy customers, I like serving the needs of customers, and I really have fun seeing them use the product or service that I have, then I find the extra time exciting. So let me give you some specific examples. In Speed to Profit Marketing, which is one of the business courses that we offer to help businesses get found and create reputation and presence online, I have a lot to keep up with. Ad practices change. AdWords, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter adding ads, others looking at it, all of those changes, and which ones are the most successful and which ones cost the most per click, and where are the good ads cost to be found, and where are the high returns, and which demographic is on which social media, those kinds of things. There's a lot of work involved in that. Now, if I resented that work, wow, I would spend my days angry. I would spend my days frustrated about serving clients and continuing both, my wife's eBay business where she deals with all those things, as well as teaching clients about how to use those tools in their businesses. That wouldn't be very much fun. So I can't do that. The way I stay motivated is I am doing something that I like, which is helping people maximize their gifts and talents. That might be in retail, or that might be in a service business. It might be a B2B business in consulting. It might be whatever it is, but I enjoy their success. And so my enjoyment factor isn't on the fact that they pay me, and they do, and I need the money, and I work for that as well. But the real enjoyment comes for me, from seeing their success and seeing them win. And so because that is my enjoyment, the extra work that I got to do is fun. It's like putting a puzzle together. It's like the new video techniques and the new effects that are possible on video, and new editing tools and new marketing techniques. It's fun. It's like a detective game a little bit for me. So I get to go find out the new things. I get to go ferret out the new stuff and give my clients the benefit of that, and put them ahead of the game. And then I get to see them edge out their competitors just a little more. And I get to see them light up with success. And then it's like, yeah, I want to stay your client because you give me the good stuff. And so that's the way that I stay motivated, is I stay focused on the thing I really like to do, and it isn't money. Not saying money's bad. We all should get paid well for what we do and provide massive value for it. Totally agree. But that isn't my focus. My focus is on providing excellence in service, creating results on a rampage, both for my clients, and then that translates, of course, into results on a rampage for me. So that's the reason. That's why excellence is so important. If you want to get help in this way, get your own results on a rampage, there's two things that you can do. One, I have a program called Break the Cage Now for radical change candidates. breakthecagenow.com for personal reinvention, leveling up your personal game, learning to have it all, getting out of the mindset that there's somehow a limit on what you can achieve. That's nonsense. And the other one is Speed to Profit Marketing, speedtoprofitmarketing.com. Both of those are programs that I have to help my own clients get their own results on a rampage. Thanks for being here tonight. I appreciate your presence. Let me take a look and see if there are any questions in the chat box. And otherwise, we will see you next week. Let's see. I don't see. I see a lot of people are doing Replay City tonight, so maybe this has just been a particularly difficult night. But that's okay. I've really enjoyed sharing this with you, and hopefully it's of powerful value. Stay focused. Excellence is, in fact, the ante. Hey, there's one more thing. If you want to write a book, we have the 2-day book challenge on October 28 and 29 next week. Sign up. You can write a book in 2 days. Imagine a book done by Halloween. It's possible. I did it. I can help you do it. October and 28 and 29.
Subscribe to your YouTube channel.
What's that?
Subscribe to your YouTube channel.
Oh, Joy just reminded me one other thing. Thank you. You know what? We put all these on YouTube. We put them in different playlists. One of the things that I want you to do, what you need to do right now, is go to the YouTube channel and subscribe. That is www.youtube.com, of course, /The Execution Mentor. The Execution Mentor. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, and that way all of these videos that come on YouTube you'll be notified when they're there, and you'll be able to have them delivered right to you. So please subscribe to our YouTube channel, and thanks again today for watching. Start right now and create your own results on a rampage.